Tariffs, okay? I'm in Orlando yesterday, and we're at the hotel, and, all of a sudden, boom, we're getting news. Here's what's going on. Look at the market. Look at the market's reacting. The market gone up, 1,100 points, and S&P and all the Bitcoin crossed 100,000. Oh, my God, it's going to be great. And then, while this was announced that the trade's going to be made, it says, I tweet and I say, I want to know the details because I want to know what this is about. Because on Sunday, we thought it was a trade deal, but it's a pause. So let me read this to you. U.S. and China agree to a 90-day tariff pause. So what does this mean, okay, on a 90-day trade pause? The U.S. Trade Representative Jamie Greer and Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent announced the U.S. agreed to drop its tariffs from 145% on Chinese goods by 115% to 30 points. 30%, while China agreed to lower its rate on U.S. goods by the same amount to 10%, with Bessent stating, the census from both delegations this weekend is neither side wants a decoupling and that high tariffs are the equivalent of an embargo. China's Commerce Ministry said the two sides agreed to cancel 91% in tariffs on each other's goods and suspend another 24% in tariffs for 90 days, bringing the total reduction to 115 percentage points. Adding, the initiative aligns with the expectation of producers and consumers in both countries and serves the interests of both nations as well as the common interests of the world. Tom, your thoughts on this?
Well, first of all, what have I always been saying, Denny? No math.
Tom, if you said anything with math, I was going to leave.
No. The market goes up and down by sentiment, right?
Yes.
People get a little worried about the future or they get optimistic about the future. The market goes up and down. That's what's going on. And so the market jumped because it liked the fact that now costs will be not rising because of tariffs. And by the way, remember the Walmart study done by the Wall Street Journal? 10,000 items at Walmart had not gone up in price for the American consumer. So when Rachel Maddow says, oh, the tariffs are hurting the American consumer for goods, tell her she's full of crap, just like you say to her when she says anything else.
Yes.
Now, we go back here to China, this is 90 days. So the U.S. has apparently seen enough or heard enough that they're going to do it. And they're going to put this pause in place to put something together. And what Scott Bessent, he was saying the consensus from both delegation is neither side, wants long-term trouble. And so that's the right thing to say in front of the microphone. I want to see the terms and conditions. I want to see what happens. But the market sentiment is good. And it also means that Walmart and others that were holding the prices level and not raising them on the consumer, they're now going to get a little relief on their stock price because their costs won't be going up because they won't pay the tariff that they said they were going to pocket and just say, I'll eat it and put it out. So this is good for the market. This was good in the short term, good for the consumer in the short term, and good for companies that were going to have it. But
who caved, Tom?
I think China caved.
Yep.
I think China caved.
Tell me why.
I'll tell you why. Because they've been doing little things behind the scenes, such as I brought up the one that I finally found people talking about, the chemical that is in plastic that becomes ethylene. That we talked about a week ago, ethene, I think it's called. And it gets processed and it makes ethylene, which leads to polyethylene. And that's plastic. And the Chinese dropped the tariff from like 145 to 0 because they said, yeah, we need to make plastic, and they can't get that.
Aside from that, Tom, who caved?
I think...
You think China caved?
I think China caved, but I also think that we had seen the market moving and we saw the sentiment, and I think we put a little strategy into this as well to give everybody a little bit of a break.
Okay, Adam, thoughts?
So who needs who more? China needs the United States, or does the United States need China? Well, if you look at it from a business perspective, in essence, who is the client, who's the customer, and who's the buyer and who's the seller?
We buy the majority of our stuff from them.
So they need us more than we need them in terms of import-exports. Like, we're their number one customer. I mean, they're selling us stuff. America is in a consumption economy. That's why these trade deficits that you hear. We have got a trade deficit with China and with Canada and Mexico, because we're buying a lot of stuff. So China's probably looking at U.S. being like, dude, they're gonna stop buying from us. Didn't they just move all their Apple
going to India
iPhones? It's
soon.
going to India. How bad can this get? I don't know. Could it go to Bangladesh? Could it go to Vietnam? I don't know. So on one hand, China has way more control over their people, and as she has already warned their people, like brace for impact, it could get bad. But at the same time, they don't want to crumble. So they're probably looking at the U.S. They're saying they're almost like staring at each other, having a staring contest. And is Trump going to blink? And Trump did not blink. Now, this isn't a resolution. They haven't come to any sort of agreement. It's a pause. You know, we talked about on the live podcast, Trump needs some wins. Trump's had a pretty good week.
Weekend.
Yeah.
What do you mean? 4 things this week.
All right, Vinny. Sorry, it's only
Yeah.
been 3 days. All right,
Yeah.
hasn't even been a week. Excuse me.
But remember when we said let them cook?
Let them cook.
And people were like,
So,
no.
This
sorry,
is happening
cooking.
way sooner than I anticipated. It's not official yet, but signs are moving in the right direction.
Okay,
The market likes it a lot.
Go
I
ahead,
think it was them caving. And by the way, he took them. They were in Geneva, Switzerland, chilling, nice. China. I think it was them, Pat, because like we've been saying, we're not seeing what China's going through. It's just China's not. What video have you seen of China and the way of life? They are struggling.
We can't see things from China. They don't. let
Well,
it
that's
get
what I'm
out to
saying
the
is I
public.
think they cave and mind you, this is all China's way.
I don't know.
PBD, I want to know what you think.
So let's go to this article here. Okay, Trump's China deal makes sense. How he got here doesn't. Okay, go a little bit lower, and let's go from go a few more paragraphs lower. Boom, 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 boom. So everyone's talking about destination of China. His original reciprocal tariffs announced April 2nd were meant to punish countries in proportion to their trade deficits. Can you zoom in a little bit more, Brandon? Okay. With the U.S., China at 34% got one of the highest major economies. Britain got the minimum 10% universal tariff, hitting Britain, a stalwart ally with open markets with any tariff would have been unimaginable before this year. And yet it officially bears the same 10% reciprocal tariff as China, though it ran $12 billion deficit with the U.S. last year, while China ran a $295 billion surplus last year. So meaning, we made money off UK, we lost not lost. They made $300 billion more than we did. With the deal with UK, we made $12 billion more than they did, okay? So true, China's 10% is on top of the 20% put in place a few months earlier, but that 20% is officially tied to China's role in the flow of fentanyl into the U.S. Trump's officials say China has shown readiness to act on that problem, yet Canada and Mexico, who have already acted, are being hit with more at 25%. Another inconsistency, Trump promised to ratchet up tariffs further on countries that retaliate. China did, and Trump responded by eventually jacking his reciprocal tariff to 125. Now he slashed it to 10%. That wasn't because of concessions from China, but the morning domestic costs. He backed off his reciprocal tariffs on most countries except China when the stock and bond market took fright, and now has backed off of most of his tariffs in China amid warning of empty shelves, plunging container traffic, and small business failures. There's an irony here. Dependence on China has long been flagged as a potential national security vulnerability for which tariffs can be justified, but that same dependence is what makes decoupling, no matter how mild, painful. Trump's walk back on tariffs shows there are limits on how much pain Americans are willing to take. Tom, thoughts?
So let's go look at something, what was happening behind the scenes. You asked who caved. Do you have that link?
Yes, I do.
Right there? Let's pop that up. And if you could scroll down just below the picture of the two presidents and get to that paragraph that's just below it. Okay, scroll down. Just below it, and we're going to read this. There it is. Okay.
Right here.
Nope, back up. Okay, here it is. Last week, Chinese officials granted exemptions. This wasn't asking us. It was them talking to their own companies, apparently. Pharmaceuticals, microchips, aircraft engines. And we're asking firms to identify critical goods they need levy-free. And scroll up to the top of it, please. And now, I mispronounced it. Not ethane, it's ethane. It was U.S. ethane because there was 5 of their top, right back there. Stop. There you go. 5 of their top 10 chemical companies says, we need this frickin' ethane from the U.S. so we can make plastic and stuff. And so China behind the scenes, I didn't think they caved, but they sure were putting a lot of exemptions out before it even happened. But I still don't trust them as far as I can throw them.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm going back again, and I'm reading what's the book by Robert Hiltz. What's the book's name, Brandon? Lighthouser. And this book is purely on trades. I think everybody needs to read it. He was the one that was doing the trade deal on the first term with Trump. No trade is free. changing course, taking on China, and helping America's workers, okay? And going back and forth on how the trade deal took place with them, what did we want from this trade deal? Like, if you think about what is our concern with China, we wanted the world's dependency not to be on China, okay? So move it out from them to different places. We wanted them to not agree on certain things when it's coming down to intellectual properties that they're stealing and not agreeing to the terms, contracts. We wanted few other things with them in regards to the tariffs where, you're acting like, that $300 billion, what do you call it, the trade deficit that we have, how much of it was made up? I don't know if any of it's going to be made up. That 297 deficit's going to be still a $297 billion deficit. So what are we doing that they're buying from us as well in return? And what level of commitment was made there? I don't know. Again, this is why I said I want to know the terms, because it's very easy sometimes to celebrate and see that you are so easily excited just because the market goes back up and your 401k went from 220 to 278 and you're comfortable now. You're not worried. Or your account went from 10 million to 11.6 million and you're comfortable. You're not worried. No. I'm still concerned with the relationship with China. A guy like me, I'm still concerned. I still don't trust these guys. And I understand that they want to be respectful while they're negotiating and all this other stuff. I just hope this 90-day, what happened to Iran back in the days when under Trump, it was so close in Iran fallen and there being a revolution because of the sanctions. So close of something taking place. Trump's out, Biden comes in, Iran's a free-for-all again, back to the same exact situation. It was this close. I think the pain was very close to even a bigger deal getting done. But because of optics, we agreed to this. And I think in the next 90 days, the pain is going to go back to them being able to tolerate another 90 days or 180 days come 90 days from now. So what's 90 days from now? Go to June, July, August 8th, August 10th, let's just say, whatever, 11th. So August 11th, now we start negotiating hard again. They can go 4 more months, September, October, November, December. All right, now it's 2026. Now everyone's campaigning for midterms. You lost leverage.
Yep.
That's my opinion, Tom. My opinion is the fact that the pain that you had to be able to make a bigger ask because of pure optics, hey, we need to show the market doing well. Today's what, 9:30, 9:44. How's the market doing right now, Tom? Have you looked at it?
Should be flat or
down
down
154.
Yeah, but
okay?
it's profit taking on the pop yesterday.
Sure, totally get it. So down 154. And yeah, this number right here, top 10 countries with the biggest trade surplus. Look at that. It's not even close. China, 600 billion. Okay, so you're looking at, and then go to India. Look where India's at. Where's India? It's not even on the
Not
list.
even on there.
No, that's
No.
Ireland. Looks
Yeah.
like India, but it's Ireland. So
Yeah.
look at India. It's not even, Australia's ahead of India. So what does that mean? Probably better terms when you negotiate with India. And they have a bigger control manufacturing around the world, China. They have a better, structure, better system to be able to, handle more business. But my biggest concern was the pain of negotiation is officially gone, and you're not going to have it come January 1st. You're not. There's a story in here that we didn't circle to talk about, and it says the fact that Trump's already eyeing midterms. And none of you guys marked that. You guys wanted to talk about this story. I don't blame you. It's not like it's a big story. But he's already eyeing midterms. Why is he eyeing midterms? Okay. If you looked at the tax deal that he did, I was reading the entire tax at the time. I don't know if you went through it or not. It's very interesting, some of the things that they did here. But anyways, to just close this and go to the next story, Adam, you look like you wanted to say something about this.
I just want to say one thing. Trump is cleaning up past presidents' mess. Who created this mess we have in China? I could argue that it's a lot of U.S. presidents, whether it was starting with Nixon, opening up relationships with China, I believe in the late 60s, early 70s. And then I think Jimmy Carter in the 70s officially recognized the CCP. Bill Clinton, I think, was the person that at least started them getting into the WTO, the World Trade Organization. And I think then it happened under George W. Bush. And then you had Barack Obama that didn't confront China at all, it would seem. So Trump is coming in and basically saying, we're going to clean this mess up real quick. So the good, the bad, the ugly, I think we're about to find out. But if you look at small businesses, here's this article from the Wall Street Journal, how tariffs are crushing small businesses. They're basically saying that the Chamber of Commerce has requested tariff exemptions for small businesses. Small businesses are apparently closing or expect to shut down from a lack of support. But if you look on Main Street, Brandon, if you pull up the fear greed index that I text you.
A little better.
The,
66, 64.
Yeah. So this is the first time I texted you, Brandon.
Yep, I got it.
This is the first time that I've seen the fear greed index indicate a little bit more greed. A month ago, it was fear was the resounding narrative in the markets right now. This is the first time I'm seeing greed, 69. If you scroll down, Elon Musk will like that number. If you scroll down, you could see that I think it was the lowest I'd almost ever seen on the fear. It was almost a 2. 1 to 50 is on the fear side, and then 51 to 100 is on the greed side. So Americans are basically saying, you know what, I'm not as scared as I was a month ago.
But for what it's all worth, and I understand. And Pat, my thing is with China, just with anything, something I feel personally, something's going to be happening here because these guys are not going to go quiet. And what is going to be their next thing? If anybody, it doesn't just have to be China. They need to do something to try to cripple us, because just this weekend, I mean, how much winning did we do this weekend? In 48 hours, he got the hostage, pharma, this deal, 90-day pause. I mean, how much more stuff can he do to make himself look good? Now he's off in the Middle East.
Yeah.
You're gonna win so much.
No,
Vinny.
he's kicking out.
You're
No,
gonna be begging
but,
to lose.
But hold on. Remember a week ago, everybody was losing their minds. Oh my God, what is he doing?
Yeah.
Tariffs. Now everybody in CNN and everybody in mainstream media is changing their tune because now they have to give him credit. So we'll see.
Yeah,
They don't want
look,
to.
I'm with you though. I don't trust China. Do you think China is capable of doing something insane?
Now they won't. Though. Now
yeah.
they won't. Now
Okay.
they won't
Well, I
because
hope
of what
so.
happened. But that doesn't mean we got what we wanted. Because now you gave them a lifeline. That's the only thing. Remember, it goes back to that arcade game. You go, finish line. Boom, you got 45 more seconds to race. Finish. You got 45. We just gave them an additional 7 months that they can tolerate pain. They don't care about their people like America does.
Yep.
So to them, that's my only, again, not in the inside. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what terms are being negotiated. If I have to bank on anybody negotiating on our behalf, it's Trump and his people. I'm very confident with what they're capable of doing. All I'm saying is, I don't know if this 90-day is going to get us back to some of the stuff that Nixon, Clinton, some of these other guys did in the past. I don't know if that's going to happen. You can't let just the market going up fool you that the right things were done. And I'm a guy that is supportive of who this guy is. I just fully know you're 47 years old. You're 45 years old. Okay, Tom, you're 59 years old. I'm 46 years old. Guess
Tom's
what we
getting
got?
younger.
Okay, you know what we got? We got a lot of living to do. Mm-hmm. And guess what's going to happen next 30 years? China ain't going away.
Nope.
I do not want them to get any stronger than they are right now. I don't. I don't trust their, they say you want to test a man's character, give him what?
Money.
Power.
No, power.
Power? Oh, okay, my bad.
Guess what we learned during COVID with them? They had power. What did they do? We learned about them. You still want to trust their character? I don't trust their character.
Me neither.
So to me, the kicking the can because you just want a good midterms or you want good news going into Saudi, who gives a shit what the market's going to be saying and what the media is going to be saying? Anyways, I know you guys would have never thought I was going to say something like this, but
No, you're right. There's two measurements, right? There needs to be less reliance on China and jobs in America. That was the stated goal. You listen to the White House. We need jobs in America, American-made products, and American-made suppliers, and we need less reliance. Well, we got there a little bit with India, which has been a long time coming. Like Apple's been moving toward India for a while. We got some of that. China's not happy about that. Now we got to get the suppliers in America, jobs in America, and less reliance on China, which means a weaker China. We got to get there. We need all of them. It's not just the market.
I hope you're right. I'm just staying a little bit paranoid because they destroyed the world for a year and a half. They destroyed memories. I will never listen, you know how I feel about business owners. To me, I have a very special place in my heart for business owners because I know how hard it is. Yesterday for me was an 18-hour day, and I loved it. Guy asked me a question, what are you doing here at 12:30? We had a private jet that we're trying to get on a flight to come back from Orlando, and the what do you call it? The weather hits, and we cancel. We rent a used Dodge Ram and a whatever the other Kia was. We get on the car 3 hours. We drive here. We go to a place called Firehouse. We buy Subway. 3 hours on the car. We're just on the phone talking to a bunch of different people, and then we get back here. We'll do a podcast with Georgienko. We go for 2 hours, and then boom, I'm on the phone back. Small business owners sacrifice time away, their 401ks, their savings, their mortgage, the money that they have in a property. China destroyed tens of thousands of restaurants in America, hundreds of thousands of businesses in America and around the world. People who couldn't see their kids. People couldn't see their grandkids. Your grandmother's about to die in a hospital. You can't go see them because of COVID. These policies in America done by guys like Fauci and others, and then what those guys did from China to disrupt the entire world, and you want me to be able to? Now I'm going to hold you accountable to it. And all I'm going to say is I just want to make sure in the future you never do anything like that again. There's got to be a level of accountability. Can't have you have to have too much power. I can't. We can't have you have too much power.
You know how powerful they are? They're still not accountable. And everybody knows it came from there. Zero accountability.
Yeah, so I'm not
China
okay with
flu,
that.
ladies and
Yeah,
gentlemen.
whatever,
okay
bro.
with that. I'm not okay with that. But anyways, we'll see. I'll stay skeptical. I'm hoping I'm wrong. I'm hoping I'm wrong, and I'm hoping all the trade deals and everything's being done is done perfectly well. It's going to be great. I just hope I'm wrong. The Lemon campaign has become a massive hit. This is a gift that gets sent to people who are maybe going through a challenging season right now with a lemon hat. With the whole campaign, the thought is about when life gives you lemons, which a lot of people have had that maybe recently. If you know anybody, it is so amazing because you get to write a message on the inside while you're sending it to someone, and it brightens their day. There's a message I'm giving to the person that's receiving it. I want to read you a couple of the notes without the names, but I want you to hear what this is doing. I know things have been rough for you, but I hope this gift puts a smile on your face and some encouragement. You are amazingly talented, and I know you will make it through. Hang in there. Love, Ma. Brother, I know life has been challenging. I want to say I'm proud of you and keeping everything together, staying true to yourself. I love you, and I know you can shoulder this, and we'll be a better person about it. You ready for this next one? This next one's awesome. You are one of the strongest people I know. Your recovery from brain surgery has been difficult, but you are getting stronger every day. Our son watches you during process and sees the warrior his mom is. We love you. Happy Mother's Day.
Wow.
And happy birthday.
Wow.
Wow. Jeez.
Shout out to
Mother's
that
Day
mom.
and happy birthday. So
recovery.
I'm so in love with this product and what it's doing to families. If you haven't gone yet and send one of these to someone, it's called Zested Forward. We have the link right there on vtmerch.com. And on top of that, new merch here. This will fly in no time because we only did limited supply of this. For those of you guys that just want to go to work and wear something to get reaction from others, we have the new limited edition Gulf of America hat. It used to be Gulf of Mexico cross stuff. Now it says Gulf of America. Okay, we have different versions of it. Another one that says Gulf of America, Gulf of Mexico. On the side, it says Future Looks Bright. On the back, it says Valuetainment.
That's sick right
And
there.
this one is sick.
That's
This
my
will go.
favorite.
This,
Oh, I
this
love
is
that
going to
one.
fly off the shelves. Gulf of America,
I want
Valuetainment,
that
red, white, and blue. This is legit. And then we got the shirts to match the hats.
This is
so
where it's at. This
go
is
place an
sexy.
order. Anything above $100 shipping and handling is free. But anything you place the order, you will get. Oh, by the way, this goes with the hats.
That goes
Check
with the
this out.
hat.
Look at this. Put this with
This
the
is
hat.
sick.
Oh, that's
That is
bad.
actually pretty sick
That
right
works.
there. Okay, that's actually
Chris
pretty
is
sick
killing
right there.
it.
Together. Anyways,
And then this
go to vtmerch.com, place your order. Keychain, zoom in on the keychain so that they can see it. A Valuetainment and US keychain will be sent to you right there. Zoom in a little bit on that keychain. There you go. Check that out. It's pretty sick. So go to vtmerch.com, place your order. Let the world know it's officially Gulf of America. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.